All right, let's begin. So yeah, let's just kind of start from the top. I've got a little list of things that I'm going to share. There's really no particular order, so let's just kind of jump into them one at a time. So hopefully you've had a chance to attend our previous ones, and if you've been attending all four of them now, you'll see that they've all been kind of building on each other. So now we're just going to kind of go backwards, and I'm just going to kind of jump into some of these fun features. All right, so the first one I want to show you is called SP Record Picker. So anybody remember when we were talking about directives and stuff, Angular providers? Anybody want to chime in and tell us what a directive is? No, I can do it if you like. So a directive is a repeatable component or reusable component within Angular JS that we can use across widgets. And there are a lot of out-of-the-box directives. If you've done any kind of portal dev at all, you've probably used directives and didn't even know it, maybe. All right, so I've started a new widget here. Let's turn the preview on. Okay. So remember, probably one of the most simple directives is right here, ngIf. Either true or false, right? You just do an expression that results in a true or false value, and that's a directive, right? Now, well, it's an example of a directive. Now let's take a look at, as promised, SP Record Picker. What does that do? Now that one you call it a little bit differently. This is not a native Angular JS one, of course. This is a one that ServiceNow built. So here, let me pull up my reference code here from another widget that I had built previously real quick. Okay, so how these work is, think of it like this. This is a little mini widget itself, right? But it's not really stored as a widget in ServiceNow. It's stored as what's called an Angular provider. But as an out-of-the-box native one, this one isn't really even in your Angular providers list. If you go to that module, this is just behind the scenes. But, you know, there is some decent documentation out there for it. You know, New Rocket actually has a pretty good article out there that explains a lot of the different options. But I'll show you some of the basic usage of it right now. All right. So what I like to do is always, first of all, okay, well, I guess let me tell you what this does first. Maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves. This is going to put basically a reference field. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. This is going to put a reference field on your page and allow a user to pick a record from a table. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to set up an object for this field. So we'll use users as an example. So I'm going to define a field called user. And it's not going to start off with any values, right? It's going to start off empty. So I'm going to define these, and then, yeah, let's also give it a name. And so there are a few different ways of doing this, right? I'm just kind of showing you one. All right, so now there's a few things that I need to define here at the directive level in my HTML. One of those things is, well, first of all, I'm going to tie it to this object like this. Right now, I've bound this directive to this object. All right. Okay, so we know, first of all, we need a table. Now, I would recommend against defining all of this. You know, like I don't like putting in table names and stuff in our template. So what I would probably do is just add these over here. Actually, and you can even do that client or server side. It might even make the most sense. So let's actually do that here. Table will be incident, or maybe you can get that from your options, your widget options or something, right? You can make that dynamic. Okay, we also are going to need a default query. We're going to need a display field. All right, so let's make our default query active. Oh, we're not doing incident, we're doing sysuser. Sorry. So our default query is active equals true. We want our display fields to be name and email, and we want our search fields will also do the same. Okay, so now over here we can just do, well, we can make this just data.user now. We don't even have to do this. Right. Okay, so let's, oh yeah, so in here, let's finish filling these out now. So that's going to be data.user. Oh, here, let's keep it consistent. Data.user dot table and default, is it dash query, right? Default dash query. Here, let's close some of this stuff down. Dash query equals data.user dot default query. I think that's how I named it. And you know, also just so you know, organization wise, when you start to get a lot of attributes on an HTML tag, go ahead and create a new line here and just start, you know, you can do that. And it's a lot, it gets a lot easier to read. All right, so we're gonna need display fields, value field. Let's go ahead and add these in here. So display fields, value field, search fields. Oh yeah, we need to, I need to add the value field in here real quick. And also I have a typo. So we'll use this ID as the value field. Okay, all right. That's good. So let's go ahead and finish filling this out. Oops. Field, search fields. Okay. All right, so let's just see what we got so far. We'll save that. All right. And let's always open up your console. Make sure you're watching any errors that come through. Looks like I have an error. I did something wrong. No, that's not related to me. All right, so let's troubleshoot this. Why don't we have it? Anything in here? Well, this could be because I should probably include my Angular notation, I believe. Actually, do I need to do that? I believe I do, actually. Yeah. So let me just put all those in real quick. And I could probably confirm that that's the case if I were to look in here and try to find that. Where is it? You know what? Let's do this first of all. That way we'll be able to see it. And then we can kind of see what's going wrong. Oh, did we get it in there?
Is it SN record picker, not SP?
You know, I could be making a really dumb mistake. And even though I was just using it yesterday, is it?
I'm pretty sure it is.
SN. That's right.
It is. Oh my God. Thank you. Yeah, I wouldn't get very far there, would we? All right, but this is here. Maybe let's take these back out then. I've been going all day.
Good time. I think it's the lack of a fancy old fashioned.
Probably. Probably. Oh, look at that. Look at that. There we go. I'm my own worst enemy sometimes. All right. Okay, awesome. Thank you for chiming in there. You're a lifesaver. Okay, so yeah, so you can see what I've done so far. You know, you define this object server side or client side, it doesn't matter, right? But I like to try to get everything as clean as I can server side. And then I built my directive here, and now I can pick a user. And now what happens, like you want to be able to respond to that, right? So the best way to do that is, well, there's a couple of ways you can do it. One is you can, seeing as I can either use the AngularJS watch method to just watch this client side, or I can also, let me just paste this in. Let me take this out for now. There's this out of the box event that fires when you pick a new value here. It's the field change event. You can watch for that. And here, so like my name is user, right? And then what I specified there. And then, so then I'm going to be, let's just, because I don't want to respond to every single field change, right? Because I may have multiple fields on the page or around the site, whatever. I only want to respond to the user field. So let's say user selected. And then we're going to log this. Okay, so let's watch the console. Look at that. User selected, and it gave me the SysID of that user. And why did it give me the SysID? Because that's what I specified as the value field. I wanted the SysID field to be the value. If I wanted to get the user's email, then over here, the value field can become email. And now watch when I select a user. See that? Boom. Ain't that handy? Any questions on that? You know, I think there's here, let me show you. I think there's also an attribute for allow multiple, if I'm not mistaken, equals true. Let's see what happens now.
I thought it was just multiple, but you may be right. I'm not sure. I think it's just multiple.
It is. Okay, so let's do multiple. Yeah, and we called, no, did it like that? Oh yeah, it is. Okay, yeah, so there's, yeah, multiple. And I guess why we call this best kept secrets, because good luck on finding all the documentation for this in one place. It ain't gonna happen, but you can find little bits and pieces of it all over. So yeah, so you can see what's happening over here. Now I'm getting both the values. Pretty nice, huh?
Or you can even go through widgets that already exist that ServiceNow has created and search for like SN dash and just see what they're pulling in of their own directives in all of their scripts.
Excellent point. So if we were to go to our widgets module and let's look for everything. Oh, I already got it over here. Yeah, so there's 12 out of the, well, 11, because this one's mine. 11 out of the box widgets that use that directive. So let's see, let's take a look at one and see how they're using it. Pretty similar. You can also specify a page size. So that's your limit, right? How many records you want to bring back at any given time. So yeah, they're using it pretty much very, very similarly is how we're doing it here. How are they watching for it over here, I wonder? Yeah, you can see they set that up kind of like we did. Yeah, they're also watching for the field change object. Yeah, so that's the pretty standard way of doing it. But like I said, you can also do scope.watch and then watch c.user. But I think this is probably the better way of doing it. Plus,
I'm gonna say there's even an on change event too, or something that you could bind to on the actual SN record picker. I want to say I have to look that up, but I think there's an on change.
Let's try this. ng change equals, and then let's write a function real quick. Scope dot changed equals function.
I don't know if ng change works because it's something interior to the directive that they've set up. Yeah. But go do what you're doing, because I'm going to look it up, and if it's wrong, we can just change that.
No, yeah, it doesn't work here.
I wanted to say it was on dash change. Yeah, it is. It is on change.
Oh, okay.
On dash change.
There it is.
Yep. Cool.
All right. Cool. Any questions about that? Anybody? No? All right. What was the next one we wanted to look at? All right. Dynamic page titles. Now, maybe you already know about this. Maybe you don't. Okay, let's open up the portal. And we'll show you how this works. All right, let's go to, how about a catalog item? I wonder if it's, so see up here in my browser tab, Apple iPad 3. That's a dynamic page title. And these are really easy to do. Let's see if is this also doing it on the knowledge article side? Let's see. You know, usually it just gives you the static page like knowledge base service portal. Yep. So this tells you even like first it's the knowledge base that it comes from, and then the page or the article you're looking at. So how does that work? Let's take a look at that real quick. Let's go to the SCCat item. Okay, so you've got on the page record a field dynamic page title. Now this is going to be a user-defined name. You could make this whatever you want, but it's going to have to correspond to your items down, your variables down in your dynamic page title variables list. right? So we can see the one that they've got set up here. See, here's the name. That's where it has to correspond. So you choose this name. In this case, they just give it name. Let's open that up. So the query parameter is what is the parameter up in the URL of the page that you're going to use to look up a record in the database, right? So if we're sitting, let's go back to a catalog item. So if we're sitting on this page, it's going to look up in the URL, and we want to use this. This is our value that we're going to want to go look up in the catalog item table to get values, right? So it's the sysid parameter. So that's what you do there. Enter that. Relevant table column. This is, I'm not totally sure what this is. Query's URL parameter value against provided column name in the table. I don't really know what the difference is between, oh, okay, sorry. I know, I'm getting ahead of myself here. It's what field on your table does this parameter correspond to, right? Because this isn't always going to necessarily be the name of a field. So by default, if you don't choose anything here, it's none. But say my parameter was actually the name of the item, and I had to look at the name, and then I would connect this then to the name field on the catalog item, and that's how I would look it up. So that's what that is. But this is going to be none because we're just using sysid. I guess that, you could pick sysid out of the list, but that'd be redundant. And then you're going to choose finally what field holds the value that you want to return for the page title. And in this case, name. So if we wanted to change it to just be like the category, let's go ahead and do that. And we'll see how that affects this. So right now it's Apple iPad 3. We expect this to change to tablets or hardware or something. Yeah, tablets. So that's how that works. Pretty easy. So if we wanted to create another one in here, say, or that was the name. So let's just change that back to name. All right, save. All right, we're going to create another one now for category. We're still going to use the sysid to look it up, but now, just like we did before, we're going to link it to category. Let's insert that. All right, so now back at our page, instead of name, just name, we could do this. Category dash name. And let's check it out now. See, tablets, Apple iPad 3. Pretty easy, huh? And so this is good too, because if you're doing any kind of like Google Analytics or stuff where you're logging the names or the page names of all of the, everything viewed in your knowledge base or catalog. If you don't do this, you're just going to get the same page name, and it's not going to be very helpful to you. So this helps give more human readable logs also. All right, any questions there on dynamic page titles? No, all right. Next, okay, same vein, page route maps. So whenever I'm building a custom portal or doing anything where I'm going to change anything on a page, right? Even if most of the portal is out of the box, and just say, for example, on this page, I want to add another widget, right? Or I want to do anything. I want to do something to make this page my own. And I don't want that to affect any other portal that might be using this page, right? Because this is a pretty fundamental page in the portal. SC cat item. There are things that link to this page all over the place. And if I'm going to create my own, like call it my SC cat item, and even if it's going to be exactly the same, I got to go hunt down every single place in my portal where it's linking to a cat item and update the URL. And that's going to be a nightmare to maintain. You don't want to do that. You always want to be, no matter how custom you make your portal, you want this to be the URL to your catalog items, right? Or whatever the page is. So how do you do that? You can still, so here we are on the catalog item. I'm going to clone it. This is now my catalog item, my SE cat item. Let's save it. And let's just say the only thing I didn't want any of this stuff, right? I wanted to take all the related stuff off just because it wasn't just showing what I want. I'm going to delete that. This is all being deleted from my page, right? All right, so now how do I get users to my page, my version of the catalog item page from my portal? I'm going to create a new page route map, which says, so just say new catalog item page. Or I choose my portals I want to apply this to, and I'm going to route from that out of the box cat item page to my SC cat item page. Active. And of course, you can maintain multiple page route maps and order them. I've never done that. I don't know why this really needs an order, but maybe there is a use case. Anyway, let's submit it. And actually, we aren't going to really be able to see that change here. Let's make another change to our catalog page. Let's see, where was that? Which one was going to my? There. Here, you know what? Let's just add another widget to it. You know, we just like that breakout game so much. We want to make sure our users can play it before they get a chance to submit a catalog item. All right, so now here I am at the catalog homepage. I'm going to click on this, and if you notice my URL down at the bottom is still SC cat item, right? If I copy my link address and paste it up here, look, it's still SC cat item. I didn't have to change that, but now it linked to my new page, and it doesn't even show my URL up in here, right? It's totally masked. So you can still keep a very out of the box URL structure throughout your whole portal and never have to go updating page URLs and stuff like that, right? Use the page route maps to route to any page that any kind of modification you need to make to an out of the box page. You can use those, and then you never have to update any URLs ever. Any questions about that? How that works? Oh, look at this. This is broken. What's going on up there? Oh, you know what happened when I cloned my page? It didn't copy the page title variables over. So let's do that real quick. Go ahead. Anybody have any questions while I do that? No?
Can you put conditions on those redirects to different pages, like only do it for certain groups?
Good question. Let's go take a quick look at that. Okay, let's just insert those real quick. There we go. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at that page route map. Now, where was that? So let's see. No, that's it.
It's like an idea to ServiceNow.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where they were going with orders, because I don't know what the purpose of an order is. You know, if you can't make them conditional, it's like, I guess, oh, you know, because if it's applying to multiple portals, then you could create, I guess, kind of like a hierarchy of page route. Yeah, but no, apparently, yeah, we don't have any options to make it conditional, but that's an excellent idea. I guess you got to write your own widget for that.
Oh, geez. Sounds like widget fun 5.
Yeah. I don't really have to drink for that.
It can only really be like user-based or session-based, right? Because you're not on a record. Right? The conditions. You might be on a record, but you don't know that here. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
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 Interesting, though. It'd be fun to build.
Yep. All right, let's take a look at the next one. We got a few more we're going to look at. Let's go back to our widget, our new widget. Where was that? Okay. There is an object available to us in our server scripts. Yeah, let's just focus on our server script here. We don't need anything else. Called SP. Now you can browse all of the available functions just by typing $SP and checking them all out. I think I mentioned this in one of our previous Share the Wealths, but I didn't really get it into any of them. but these are really worth taking the time and checking out. So let's do a quick example of how you can use these. Let's say I want to, let's do this. We'll do our user first there, but then we're going to do a list of incidents. All right. So we're just going to do incident GR. Make this super easy. Add query. Active is true, or I could have done active query. And then, yeah, let's just do that for now. We'll set a limit so we don't get 1,000,000 back. Let's just say like 20. Incident gr.query. Okay, so now we're going to loop through each incident. And here, let's get an items array ready for this. Actually, let's just open up our template real quick and get a place for our incidents. And we know that we're going to repeat an li for every item in data.items. And for now, we're going to print out the whole item. All right. Let's get an item object ready for each one. We're going to initialize it blank. And then we want to let's just to make sure we got a good list first, we're going to do item dot display value equals incident gr dot get display value. And then data dot items push item. Let's see what we get. Okay, we got a list of 20 incidents, 20 active incident numbers. That's exactly what we wanted. But now we want to display a lot more about this. Let's say we want to do this. We want to get like 3 fields back. We want to get caller ID, sys created on, and state. All right. So now what we can do is check this out. We have, let's see what we have available here. We have a get fields service here, or function like get field, but returns an array of field objects for each comma separated field name. Let's check this out. Let's try it. Come on. So we're going to pass to it first our glide record object, and then our fields. And actually, we want to put this up here. All right, so we're going to populate the item. Let's see what we get. Nice. Look at that. I mean, it ain't looking like much yet, but now look at what we can do over here. What did we ask for? We asked for caller ID. Oh, here, you know what? Let's add number in there just for the sake of it. So let's do the number first. Actually, we can't just do that. We'll do actually here, yeah, let's do that, and we'll see what happens here. We'll just do the state for now. Now look what this looks like. Hold on. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to work. Let's do the, we want here. So we'll see exactly what we need to print out. Yeah, we're looking for the display value. Wait, so that gives us an array. What did that give us, an array? It sure did, didn't it? Okay. So what you can, all right, so let's do this here actually, because it gave this to us in a rather funny way, right? And I would rather, I mean, one thing that we can do here is like, we could do, do another repeat inside here like this. And G repeat equals field and item. See what we get with that. Yep. So see, then now it printed out an actual object for each one. And what we could do is like field name, field dot value. There we go. Now that's starting to look like something, right? So as you're working with these, you're going to have to really just pay close attention to the format of how these things come back to you. They're not always consistent, right? Now, so this is one way of doing it, right? Now, maybe I wanted to, or I'll just show you another quick way of doing it using get field. So let's say instead of doing that, let's say we're going to call our own function get fields, and we're going to pass to it our glide record. And now down here we have a function get fields. I think it's the glide record. So for now, so here we're going to say, well, here, let's go ahead and just make this data dot fields. Make sure we can get it down here easily. For var f in data dot fields. Whoops. I guess first data dot fields dot split. Right. You got to convert that to an array first. Okay, so then for each one, field equals fields, and to trim that, we're just gonna, I would just do that just because like here, maybe you want to keep some spaces in there, right? That's going to take out those spaces. All right, and now in here, oops, we want to do this up there. Never define your variables in the loop, define them outside. Okay, so here we get the field, and now we're going to say, I kind of lost my train of thought here. Get fields. Oh yeah, This is where we do get field then. How did we call this? Item. So we're going to create a field object property in our item object. And so the fields, I'm getting too complicated in this. I don't want to get too far into the weeds, and I just realized that the way I was doing it before is probably just going to be your best way, right? Let me undo that there. Sorry about that. Didn't waste everybody's time. So I guess what I was trying to get at was if you really want more control, you could loop through each of these field names, right? And call get field and get it back singularly, right? But what I did is I'm using get fields to just call them in all at once. And so then you can structure your template however you want to get those out. Or I guess here, this is where I was ultimately trying to get to. You could also then loop through these. Never mind. I'm getting too advanced. Let's go to the next one. Sorry. Yeah, we want to keep this our favorite out of the box methods. And I'm starting to get into advanced more like object formatting and stuff. And so forgive me. All right. We want to spend a few minutes time. Let's take a look at some other ones in here real quick before we move on. Anybody have any questions about these? Any that you've seen before in widgets that you're not really sure what it does? One of my favorite other ones is to be able to embed widgets. So you can use get widget from an instance. That's like an instance that already exists. Or you can go even define that instance server side or client side and like create one on the fly. Those are fun. But look, you got some pretty useful ones. Get user initials. You don't have to write your own user functions to get those. You can just call that with the user initials. So a lot of really great stuff. Get related list. You can call that on a form object, a glide record, and specify a view, and it returns all the related lists for that view. So there's really awesome stuff in here. Definitely worth looking at it. All right, let's get out of the widgets for a second now. Let's get out and take a look at just basic page structure. How does a portal page put together? It's pretty simple, but it can be a little, there's a lot that goes into it once you start really cracking it open. So let's open this up in Page Designer. We'll cover a couple of real basics first, just in case some of you are really new to Portal. Your header and footer are not going to be visible in here, right? Your header and footer are maintained as part of the theme of your portal. And so those are maintained separately. This is the page view. It's strictly just the page that's, the view between the header and the footer. And it's a basic bootstrap model built on the container rows and columns concept. All right. So if you look over here in this top section of the layouts, this is kind of basic bootstrap layout stuff. You've got a container, which can contain rows. Those are your horizontal objects. And then your rows can contain columns. Those are your vertical objects. So the vertical objects are what's going to create your column spacing on the page, these columns. So now at each one of these levels, you can maintain a lot of different properties. So let's just hop into, let's go to the top one here, this top level container. Click the pencil. So we can see we have the ability to upload a background image that's going to display for that container. So now whatever widgets we throw into this container are all going to be, have this background image. So that's, you can also choose a color. If you don't want it to be an image, you can choose a color. There's some different options for it here. You can even move this container to the header, which means that the page is going to consider it part of the header. And if you use a sticky header, then it'll move with the page. And so a lot of cool options here. Then you can also apply classes at these levels, right? So there's a lot of Bootstrap classes that you can apply, to create spacing or to make elements. Like for example, this one, we're saying hidden-excess. It means on extra small screens, this container isn't going to show at all, which that's usually one of the first things I change in portals, because even on a mobile, I still want them to have search on the homepage, so I just maybe give them a different kind of search. But yeah, I don't want it to disappear. But you can see if you did want a whole container to appear or disappear in certain screen sizes, you could do that. Yeah, so a lot of different spacing and layout options here. Once you get into the row, you have some similar options, but less, right? I can give it a CSS class that I can target with some CSS, but that's about all at the row level. The column level is really where we get into responsiveness and stuff. So you can see here in this row, we have three different columns. And actually, if I open up that row object, actually not here, let's do it I can do it from the page view. If we look at that home page, so there are multiple ways of looking at objects on a page, or like how a page is constructed, right? Here's another way of looking what we were just looking at. You can see here's that first container with just the home page search in it. Then there's another container. Oh, here's another container that you can see. I forgot it's just the banner that disappears on the smaller ones. They're including just the type of head search on the smaller screens. I still like the banner even on smaller screens though. Anyway, so you can see in the third container, we have three columns, one for each link. So this is a great way of creating static page structure, right? But if I was in the portal and say one of these links was conditional, or maybe I had a fourth one, or you wanted to be able to just, freely add, more links here without having to go and update the page structure, I would use a widget that actually, just lines my items up itself. I would use 3 different widgets here. But remember, this page that we're looking at, this is just a sample demo site. This is not considered the out-of-the-box portal. This is not what ServiceNow suggests you implement. So, where they have 3 widgets here for 3 links, it's a terrible setup. Don't implement that. But the basic page structure is great. There, like you can see below that, they're also using 3 columns. And in that sense, it makes more sense because you actually have different lists that you want to lay out on the page, right? Like these lists down here. And so those are super easy to do. You just select that column, make sure you have the column selected. And then you can go in and you can choose at the different sizes of screens, how many columns you want that column to take up. And it's always going to go, it's going to cascade from smallest to largest. So, and really, it's best to just get in and kind of play with these to see how it works. Me trying to explain it all here is going to be lost. I'm going to become all tongue-tied. It's just best to go in and experiment with those. But so as you're going through this, you might encounter that there's also a lot of different places to write CSS, right? You can write CSS at the page level. So I can go now into the page settings and provide some page specific CSS that gets only applied on this page, just like out of the box, they have some here. So here's one. So this is one place you can write CSS. Another place is, of course, in the widgets themselves. They all have CSS files. I can write CSS in a style sheet and attach it to my theme, right? And depending on what your need for, or like what you're trying to target and how globally you want that CSS to take effect, that's all going to depend on where you write it, where you store it. And you'll just have to think of that on a case-by-case basis. Let's see, what else about the layouts here? Anybody have anything interesting you want to point out about layouts that you can think of, or any questions about what you can do with these?
Hey Jeff, this is Norbert. I just posted a question. I think you were editing one of those containers. I'm just curious what the Bootstrap alternative checkbox was doing.
Oh, the Bootstrap alternative. Let me jog my memory on that.
I think it was on the container, I believe. Or the, yeah, okay.
Bootstrap alternative. What is that doing?
That's new. That's new. Is there not a hover?
Question.
Or maybe
No.
on the container in the actual platform, you can hover and see what it is. Because I've never seen that one.
Bootstrap alt. Yeah, Google. Let's Google together, everyone. Yeah.
What's up?
Lucas says, oh, come on. We'll disable the Bootstrap CSS grid system in the container.
Okay.
All right.
And use what instead, though?
I guess nothing. Well, let's experiment here. Let's do that on this one right here. Bootstrap alternative. There you go. So, okay. So I guess all your container row, all your call classes, I guess just get ignored.
I guess you would just write your own then in that one little container.
I suppose so.
Cool.
Sorry, I was talking on mute. I've got the doc site open. It says if that's selected, the width, the standard Bootstrap class, and the now record with the container, and the size columns are all ignored. Only select this field if you plan to provide custom CSS classes and CSS for the container row and column records.
Well, there you go.
All right.
I bet this is an answer to using Flexbox because everyone wants to use Flexbox instead of Grid. I bet that's what this is.
There are times where I have, been, not that one, I want this one. It's kind of stymied by out of the box Bootstrap classes that are there that like really bugged me from being able to do what I wanted to do. And so, yeah, that's a great use case for that. All right. Well, hey, we're at the top. I got a meeting right after this. Yeah, hopefully we kind of exposed you to some more out of the box features of ServiceNow, kind of showed you the light that there is a lot there under the hood that you can make use of. Sorry, I took you on a wild goose chase with object formatting. I should have tried having a drink before that. But if you got any questions, always feel free to reach out. Come out to the UIX COE Slack channel. Ask us questions there if you want.
Every other Friday.
Yeah. Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.